Hello guys, I am Fizzy and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing PC GT3 Elite League on Project Cars. Now also an official Project Cars affiliate league. Yes, that is right. Basically, a little while ago now, we were contacted by Project Cars who wanted to know more about what we do, our leagues, the leagues that we run at AOR, and with this GT3 league being the main one of those at the moment, of course. And yeah, they basically wanted to kind of endorse the league racing community a bit more, and the online community on the game. Obviously they already do their esports stuff that they organize themselves on Project Cars, but they have now also made AOR their first official affiliate league, which is pretty cool, I have to say. Nice to see them kind of reaching out and wanting to promote and support the online league racing community quite a bit more. That is really cool to see. So that should hopefully give us a bit more promotion in the future for the AOR leagues, and maybe also in the future some more extra things that haven't yet been sorted out. But yeah, big thanks to the guys at Project Cars and Slightly Mad Studios for that, and also to Yorkie, my co-commentator, who was a big part in making that happen. But that's it for that little piece of cool information. Now we move on to the action at hand, which is the third round of the fourth season of this GT3 league, and we are at Le Mans Bugatti circuit, the shorter version of the famous Le Mans circuit, with some interesting conditions as well, running in very early in the morning here and with a bit of cloud cover as well. And in the qualifying session for this race, it was the championship leader F1 Masa taking another pole position with a lap time of 1:32.517, ahead of the two Polish guys in the Bentleys, Dinda S and Kaki, who were both over a second behind. In fact, it was a big gap for Masa at the top, but much closer further down the field. The Bentleys followed by Nesterovic, TonyR, Brownski, Tipple, Centro, Nostra and Miniblack in the top 10. And also nice to see Ycoms making his return to the league for the first time since Season 2. He will be starting his return race in 11th position on the grid. But with all that said, we've got an hour-long race to embark on here, so let's jump into the commentary box now with, obviously, myself and Yorkie. He's done his share of practice, and he's going to start on pole position here. He's F1 Masa for this third round of the season, and the lights are about to come on for this 18-man grid here at Le Mans Bugatti, and away we go. Let's jump into the commentary box if we can, as quick as possible. Oh, it's so painful, but here we go. Here we go. And it's not... where's F1 Masa? He's been squeezed there in the mid-pack. It is actually Nesterovic is taking the lead, and that's potentially Masa who's gone off there. Where is it? TonyR was one of the Aston Martins who's been spun off into the gravel by the looks of it. We got Dinda still in second, but Nesterovic has taken an early lead there. And something must have happened to Masa while we were trying to get into the spectator modes. And there's more contact in the back here. Let's try to find... oh, the camera wants help. Yeah, is Tony off as well? Wow. No, I think that's a lag with Masa's car, because it's just crashed on my screen. What do you think, Yorkie? Masa is in the wall for me. Don't know about you.
I believe last time I saw Masa was actually up in second. Yeah, he is still in second. It was TonyR who you were referring to, the guy in the mid-pack. He got squeezed.
He's 10th at the moment.
I'm not entirely sure by who, but it looked like he got a little bit of glue car contact going on and got shoved out wide. He's put himself down to 11th position from 4th, I believe he started in. So dramatic start from Tony already. That's definitely not what he would have wanted. Having a quick look at the standings, like you were saying, Nesterovic is in first, in second. It looked like Maisie was spinning off to the right there as well. I think Tony had to back out of the throttle to avoid that one. Has actually gone and lost a position in that as well, and slipped back down into 12th. It looks like who is in front of him now? Mikhail and Nostra have slipped themselves up a position as one of the guys dives off into the pits. On the inside there, a couple of people possibly picking up either penalties or damage with contact fairly early on. I'm actually watching TonyR now coming up the inside of, I believe, Nostra, yeah. Towards the first turn, coming into the braking zone for turn 2. It looks like he's pretty much got the move done already, and he's going to take the apex of turn 2 and into turn 3 quite nicely. So he slipped himself back up into 11th position, and it'll be interesting to see how he can recover his race from here.
Yeah, he's going to have a go at Mikael straight away. It's going to be another recovery drive for TonyR, who had a similar situation, of course, in the season opener at Brno, when he also had an early incident that dropped him down the field. And it must be pointed out on my screen. It doesn't sound like you're having the same, Yoki, but there's definitely some issues with F1 Master on my screen. I don't know if it's a conflict between our connections or something, but for me, F1 Master's car is consistently driving off the track and then reappearing. And TonyR, though, yeah, it's contact with him here, Mikael, as he tried to go around the outside into the penultimate corner. He's made it work. It wasn't too pretty. It was a bit of contact, but it doesn't look like there's too much damage. Oh, no, there's more contact with Nostra trying to find his way up the inside of the turn 1 chicane. And there's a Bentley off there as well. Who is that? Kaki. Wow, it's all kicking off there. It's hard to find all the action, and you can see Nostra and Mikael now side by side. If the camera wants to switch, there we go. Mikael, can he hold on? The charge from Nostra was put on the back foot after defending from Tony in the final corner of the previous lap, and he's just about held that 10th position, 9th position even for now, as Kaki is really struggling behind them.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on with Kaki's Bentley. He was struggling last week as well. It could be the cooler conditions not really working out for the Bentley too well, trying to get the tyres up into the optimum pressure and also temperature zone. It just seems to be lacking grip at the moment, and like we saw him run wide, and he tried to rejoin the circuit but couldn't really find a place to do it. He's actually gone and dive bombed up the inside of Nostra, who's on the outside for turn 3. Almost made the move work, but not quite. Nostra kept to his guns and put his elbows out and made sure that he maintained his 11th position. Going to dive up towards the front of the field here, as it looks like TonyR is pretty rapidly closing up onto the back of Ycoms, as Ycoms takes a wider entry coming into the long left-hander hairpin there. TonyR opting for a more tighter, earlier apex. It looks like Ycoms is currently sat behind his teammate of Silver Arrow, who currently holds 7th position, so a pretty good start for Silver Arrow so far. He's got a little bit of clear air in front of him. And
Old Mercedes car's doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, Centro's in 6th in his Z4, and then we've got Tipple and also Brownski as well. Dinda S is currently holding 3rd position, with Nesterovic in 2nd, and F1 Massa's gone and managed to start himself up into 1st position. So,
yeah,
unfortunately, we've missed that overtake somewhere along the line. These guys are starting to space out a little bit, but it's not too bad at the moment. I was just picking up there. Who was that? That was Ycoms. I'm going to go a little bit defensive from TonyR, as TonyR is trying to pick up the slipstream coming down over the start-finish line. He's starting lap 4 now. Tony following in the dirty air should give him an advantage. He's actually going for the inside into turn 1, which should put him on the outside for turn 2. Does he go for it? Yes, he's going to try and go around the outside of Ycoms here into turn 2. He should have the inside for this the right-hander, turn 3 that follows. And it looks like he's almost got the move done and dusted. It's pretty much a drag race as we come down into this long hairpin here. Surely he'll have the inside line and come out with 8th position. Coming out the exit of this corner, looks like he's pretty much done that, but Ycoms is now actually starting into the slipstream. Isn't going to be able to dive down the inside of Tony to try and fight back and regain the position. So Tony now up into 8th.
Yeah, so there's a very good move by him there, making quick work of Ycoms, but it didn't make it easy for him for sure. And I just have to point out once again, if people have joined after the first few laps, that if you're seeing F1 Masters Aston Martin just randomly driving off into the wall and giving itself loads of damage and crash sounds, then that's just a bit of a you know, I don't know, connection issue or something going on there, because he's not actually doing that, which is why I didn't really react when it happened on my screen at the start of the previous lap. But just thought I'd clarify that for the people who was wondering, the leader just crashed out, Fizzy, why haven't you reacted to this? But yeah, that's kind of why. So just looking further down, Wise Guy running in the points at the moment in 13th place. He looked to be a little bit under pressure from amazing Maisie ZZ, who was down in 14th, a little bit down from where he usually is historically in this league. He's not really found the Ginetta too easy to get along with so far, which is kind of to be expected. It's, you know, it's kind of been looked at as not the best choice to go with out of the GT3 cars, but he's trying to make it work anyway. We got Pedro right behind him, and then followed by Mini Black as well. Might have a little bit of a peek up the inside of turn 1, and he's put Pedro really under pressure. He's going to do the cutback on the exit of turn 2 there. Is Mini Black. They're going to be run side by side, and a side by side as well, ahead of the Macy passing Y-Sky. Let's see if he managed to pull this off, if the camera wants to switch, and he has indeed. Y-Sky is going to try to come back at Macy now, but Macy just about has that inside line covered for the next corner. I need to learn the corner numbers here as well. I always forget this. But I believe that was turn 5, possibly. Yeah, either way, good move by Macy there. So let's see. Oh, Mini Black wants in the action as well, though, right away. If you can have a quick look up the field, Yoki, and make sure no one else is passed off camera, that'd be
not that
smashing.
I've noticed that Blue Rat's got himself up into 11th position at the moment, just ahead of Macy, so he's had a pretty good start so far.
And he's not too far behind Mikael either.
Positions. Something I have noticed. Someone's gone missing.
Ooh.
There was Bentley of Dinda somewhere along the line. I believe.
Oh no.
We've lost.
Yeah, I can't see him.
I just saw Brownski, who was up in 3rd position. I know that Dinda and the Bentley was ahead of the 3 Z4s of Brownski, Tipple and Centro. But yeah, Brownski's now in the 3rd position, the final podium spot. He's got Nestarovic just up the road, roughly about a second to a second and a half. F1 Massa a couple of seconds up ahead of Nestarovic. So Nestarovic holding a pretty good pace at the moment. Be interesting to see how the strategy actually develops over this race. I have no idea how the GT3 cars handle this circuit and what they do in terms of tyre wear, and whether these guys will need to make a pit stop at any time or not. So your guess is as good as mine, Fizzy.
Yeah, well, historically in these leagues, over the course of race distances that are around an hour in length, you know, when these guys go on the soft tires for ultimate pace, obviously that's being the fastest tire, they usually are forced to make a pit stop because the wear is as such that you know, it's more beneficial to get a fresh set of tires. But we saw in the season opener that a few of the guys chose an alternate strategy, the 2 BMW Z4s of Brownski and Tipple most notably on that occasion, and they finished pretty well. So I am wondering if anyone will kind of take after that and try a similar strategy there, and try to not to do any pit stops at all and just drag out the tires till the end, because apparently those Z4s at Brno did the race at the soft tires and didn't pit. So it is definitely possible, but as you said, it's a bit of an unknown on this particular circuit because we haven't been there before in this league. So you know,
just picking up now, Blue Rat is trying to make a move on Macau coming into first turn. Hasn't quite managed to get his car alongside just yet. He had a little bit of a look down the inside there, which I would have had him on the outside for turn 2, but he's looking very, very eager to get past Macau, and it actually looks like he's going for the move now down the inside into the hairpin. However, he's not quite far alongside quite enough. It looked like he was dipping the wheels onto the grass there, which would have obviously affected his braking. He certainly looks to be
there. He goes though.
Out of the 2 now. Yeah, now he's going for the inside move, and it looks like Macau's given him the position, but Maisie is right there, right behind them as well, trying to get in on the action. It actually looks like Maisie's potentially slipping up alongside the roof here. He should be able to get on the outside. Coming into here, Macau's actually going back at Blue Rat, who's given him plenty of room on the inside. This is pretty good stuff going side by side, but it looks like Blue Rat has managed to hold on to the position. He's got himself up into 10th place, and it'll be interesting to see if he can now actually start to pull away from Macau, and if Maisie can, you know, kind of hustle and distract Macau a little bit and help him with that situation. At the moment, it looks like Macau's hanging on to the back of Blue Rat and trying to come back to regain the 10th position that he has just lost. Yep. However, Blue Rat is holding his line for the moment quite nicely, keeping his nerve and keeping that roof behind him.
Yeah, impressive race from Blue Rat so far, running into top 10, a good move as well to pass Mikael, and yeah, he's only scored 1 point in the first 2 races with his 16th place at Brno, whereas Mikael has had a 13th place and a 7th place. Ow, but he's actually going to be hit by Maisie. Watch out, Blue Red. Oh, that was so close for Mikael to go into the back of Blue Red as well after he received that nudge from Maisie in the braking zone. The 2 Czech drivers hitting each other there, and I wonder if there was some kind of braking problems maybe for Maisie, who's actually lost a bit of ground as a result of that. So luckily it
help Mikael.
yeah, maybe, you never know. It definitely got him a bit closer to Blue Rat. Probably gave him a bit of wet pants as well, but yeah, at the moment they all seem to have gotten away with it just about. And let's just jump forwards. We have the 2 Mercedes SLSs of Nostra and Ycoms in 9th and 8th. TonyR has made his way up to 7th now, and then the final Mercedes is the one he's catching up to. That's Silver Arrow, who's running solidly in a 6th position. Centro up in 5th as well in the BMW Z4. We have to mention the Z4s there, because Centro, Tipple, Brownski, all in the same team here. And they are running 3rd, 4th and 5th, and they're on course for some really, really strong points in the team championship for them. Obviously they running as the team Wheelie Bad in the team championship, and yeah, interesting name. And 19 points behind TAJWMS Racing of F1 Master, TonyR and Jellyfish. Jellyfish, who is not here, actually. I've just realized as well. But, yeah, so I think with even though F1 Master is leading the race, they're on course to maybe close the gap a little bit with 3 really strong points holds at the moment from all their drivers. And yeah, you mentioned before, Dinza S, he was running in the podium position, but unfortunately we can't really know what happened to him, because in the spectator box we don't get the information when drivers drop out of the race as to whether it was a disconnection or whether, you know, they had crashed and intentionally left the session or whatever. But clearly some kind of issue for Dinza S that has unfortunately meant that he is no longer in this race. And I have not actually driven this circuit myself in these cars previously, because as I mentioned, it's the first time we are at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit in this league in the first 4 seasons. But from my experience of driving other cars here, it's a pretty bumpy track as well. I don't know. You obviously know the cars pretty well, Yogi. I don't know if there's any cars that take better to bumps than others.
A few of them do.
Oh!
Dear. It looks like
my
God.
God.
May have lost the rear end of the car there, going mid-corner there, and basically had to slam on the anchors to stop the car from spinning around. That actually caused Maisie to go into the back of him, and he's now got Blue Rat trying to go around the outside, right around the outside, a very, very long way to go about trying to gain 10th position, but it looks like he should just about be able to hold and gain the position. He's got the inside line for this double right-hander here, and he's now actually gone and slipped in. Mini Black slipped himself up 2 places into 10th position. Both Maisie and Mini Black suffering some damage to the front of their cars after that contact with Blue Rat. Blue Rat will have a little bit of damage to the rear of his car, and actually looks like Maisie's got a fairly big dent in the back of his Ginetta as well from the bathtub, the tank, the lorry, whatever you want to call it, the Bentley. Silver Arrow has gone and split the Z4s, along with TonyR, who's got himself up into 5th position.
Yes,
so
Centro must have had a problem maybe, because he was 5th before, and now he's quite a bit back.
He's dropped 2 positions. It did seem like he was struggling a little bit.
Oh, he's got huge damage. Centro's got huge damage to the front of his car there, I'm just seeing. And he's running just ahead of Ycoms, in fact, so he's in 8th at the moment. And yeah, massive dent on the front of Centro's BMW Z4 there, so he must have had a huge shunt. You know, hard for us to say since it happened off camera as to whether it happened with contact with another car, but I wouldn't assume so, because he was pretty lonely out on track when we checked on him last, so I think he might have just had a mistake and maybe spun off into a tyre barrier.
I don't see the damage. The front of his
really?
Looks perfectly fine for me, yeah.
Oh well.
There's no damage for him at all, but looking at the lap time...
Definitely some kind of problem though.
37, which is more than a second and a half off the pace of the guys in front of him, or in and around him, so...
It's almost 3 seconds off his best time as well.
Yeah, possibly a couple of mistakes somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Through various laps that's allowed people to slip up past in front of him. He's got, I believe, Ycoms just behind him in the SLS trying to pressure him, so He's trying to keep Centro distracted as Silver Arrows pulled a fairly decent gap as he looks a little bit twitchy there under braking, but still managed to get the car slowed down and hooked up into the apex. He's currently chasing down TonyR, who's got a fairly decent gap ahead of him to Tipple. Quite a long way, that's probably a good 15 odd seconds or so.
And we actually got Brownski in third, who is closing in on the Sterovich. Certainly the gap is not too big, only a couple of seconds now. Can't remember if it was bigger before, but I feel like Brownski's closing here.
I think he's holding station. The gap's been fairly similar for since the start of the race. Last time I looked, it hasn't really changed all that much, but I think we're starting to potentially see some pit stops. Nesterovic and Brownski are coming up onto the back of Maisie Mini Black and also, I believe, Blue Rat as well. I think Blue Rat may have just made a pit stop along with AJ, so guys starting to make some changes for these tyres fairly early on.
What the frick?
Contact going through turn 3. It looks like Macau is off to the right on the side there, trying to pick up Maisie, who is now running across the grass.
Yeah, that's a damaged car.
Slowing down, yeah. He's probably got a load of suspension damage by the looks of it, the way his car's twitching and under so he's going to possibly struggle trying to get that one back to the pits and get that in full repair. Hopefully he won't spin at any point in this lap, but I imagine he's probably got a fair amount of steering luck on going through the right-handers. I'm not too sure whether it's trying to pull to the left or trying to pull to the right at the moment. My initial impression is it's trying to pull left.
I don't know if Mikkel ahead might... Do you think he's got some problems as well? I mean, I didn't really see what happened. I just... Because I was watching Brownski at the time and that happened right ahead of him. I just suddenly saw him going into turn 1 and there was a massive three-way gaggle just going on the exit of the chicane. And clearly something's happened there that just led to Maisie getting damaged, and Mikkel has definitely dropped a lot of positions as well. Blue Rat's down in 13th now, having been... just behind Mini Black, so yeah, so just something massive is happening there. Blue Rat is going to have an attempt to maybe get back at Mini Black for P12 there. He's actually getting better straight line speed out of Bentley off the final corner into the turn 1 chicane. Mini Black braking later on the inside. Actually, I don't know if they even tried to brake there. It just looked like a little bit of wheel banging on the straight there. I think Blue Rat just kind of backed out of it out of fear for another big incident happening there. He's going to maybe try to have another look here. And yeah, it suddenly all kicked off a little bit in the kind of mid to low pack of this field, as we mentioned before, because of Jinda. Oh, actually, Blue Rat getting... Yeah, he's got a good run, but on the wrong side, though. We want to be on the inside for this corner, because as you mentioned before, it's a long, long way around here. But Blue Rat's going to cut back, and Mini Black's actually run wide. That is a good piece of driving from Blue Rat to get back up to 12th place. He was running in 10th at an earlier part of the race, but yeah, now has to work his way up a little bit more from those issues. And let's have a quick look. Actually, Mini Black now. Oh, he's letting one of the BMW Z4s through to lap him, of course. We're kind of into the territory where the guys at the front have already caught up to the guys towards the back. The guys who have been having some issues in this race, whereas the guys at the front have mostly been just running very rapid pace and have already come to lap them, and it's a bit awkward for the front guys to come through and lap cars when they're actually battling this hard.
Yeah, I think it's down to the actual pit stop phases. We've seen Mini Black dive off into the pits. I think he may have picked up some more damage somewhere along the line. Not entirely sure where, but I was just looking at the standings real quick just now. Pedro's up into 10th place when Pedro's down in 15th, 16th, I think, kind of around second to last. These guys swabbling for positions now were in front of him, and they're a fairly good distance behind. Pedro's just gone through the double left-hander, is now on the back straight, so that kind of seems like the distance of a pit stop to me. So I think Blue Rat, AJ, Macau and Maisie, oh, and also Mini Black have made their pit stops already in this race. We've now just about hit halfway distance as well, coming up to there or thereabouts. So some of these guys pit stopping early, potentially swapping from soft tyres onto mediums, perhaps, or possibly trying to make a longer stint on the softs and hope that they hold out. I'm not really too sure. Obviously, we saw a couple of contacts between a number of the guys, so there could be just a peeling off into the pits to repair the damage, and then other people basically being forced to pit around them to kind of, you know, try and cover off that person, trying to make a little bit of ground on the fresher tyres. But yeah, Blue Rat holding 12th place at the moment with Vice Guy, his teammate, just in front of him in 11th. I believe this is actually Brownski who's coming up behind him. Is now
he's taking the lead now. He's taking the lead. Yeah. Because Masa's in the pits. Masa's falsely damaged car on my screen is in the pit lane here. I wonder if actually the spectator mode will fix the damage when he's in the pits. I don't think so though, because on his view is not actually got any damage. So there we go, he's back out on track. And he's actually going to drop to 4th position at the moment. So I mean, the reason this might be interesting is because we got Tipple and Brownski already 1-2 in the race, and you know, judging by the fact that they did a pretty successful stop strategy in Brno in the season opener, I'm wondering if they will actually be trying the same here, and then we'll have an interesting scenario where Masa will obviously, even though he's got a fresher tires and based on the first part of the race, the better pace, he's gonna still have to catch these guys back up and actually make the pass now, if these guys obviously don't pit.
Yeah, I think Brownski's intention, certainly Brownski's and probably Tipple's as well, is to try and do the no-stopper on this race and go to full distance on one set of tyres. Nestorovic pitted at the same time as F1 Massa did. TonyR is currently up in 3rd position at the moment, but he has yet to pit if he's going to. Not entirely sure what his plans are for the race, but I know Brownski was saying in the forum that he was looking forward to trying. Actually, no, screw up all that. He's now actually in the pits.
Ah,
so just quickly jump to
come on, Brownski, man! I was excited to see the different strategies here. Damn it!
Pulling into the pits as well. So possibly, I think it could just be the cooler conditions. The medium tyres just don't really work all that great in the cooler conditions. They don't bring the grip that you'd need to kind of hold on to them, and it kind of makes them redundant, especially when the softer tyres is so quick, and it does a decent amount of laps anyway. And yeah, it's just, it doesn't, the medium tyre just doesn't negate the time that you'd spend in the pits when you make a stop for softs.
That was close! Nesterovic just getting ahead of Brownski there as Brownski was coming out of the pits, and Nesterovic is literally just ahead of him, so Brownski definitely gained time through the pit stop phase there. And you know, it's something the drivers don't do very often. Only once a race go in and out of the pit lane, and it's definitely some time to gain there potentially on the entry if you can get it right and if you actually practiced it. And clearly Brownski's done something slightly more right through the pit stops there compared to Nesterovic. So these guys are actually having a battle for 3rd place now, legitimately on the track, and Nesterovic, who's had a pretty poor exit out of that corner, is going to go slightly defensive into the double chicane here, and Brownski around the outside, beautiful late braking maneuver, and he's going to make it stick on the exit. That is a fantastic move from Brownski to take 3rd place here, but the rough of Nesterovic is going to come right back at him. Brownski's going to have to defend into the next chicane. A lot of chicanes here in the middle part of the lap. Brownski holds on for now. That was some incredible battling for the 3rd position. I'm just going to quickly check. Masa running 2nd now. TonyR, his teammate, still going out in the lead without having pitted actually. So that is quite interesting. So there's a Aston Martin 1-2 for the moment. And then Brownski's teammate Tipple is in 5th position. But yeah, what an incredible battle. And I hope it continues. We are now onto the main straight, where Nesterovic Yoki is going to have to maybe have a go back at Brownski.
Yeah, the exit of that double right-hand of the final corner would have been key for Brownski here. Looked like he got that nailed down pretty well and got a couple of car lengths on Nesterovic. It doesn't look like Nesterovic would be close enough to have a move down the inside into turn 2. They just follow each other through for a moment. Through turns 2 and 3, coming down towards turn 4 now. But my God, was that an absolutely fantastic move by Brownski. Right around the outside there, cleanly. He had plenty of room on the inside as well. He could have been closer to Nesterovic. He just settled cleanly around the outside of him. I'm guessing Nestorovich would have just thought that Brownski would just pull up alongside and then just kind of hold the outside rather than try and carry the speed through, and just, yeah, it was caught out on the apex there as Nestorovich actually goes for a dive bomb down the inside of the of Brownski there, but didn't quite manage to make it work. Brownski having to adjust his line a little bit. But yeah, Nestorovich is looking pretty eager to try and get back into this, what is actually net second place. If
yeah, that's true.
That's true. A pit stop, as he's very, very close to the back of Brownski, following him through the chicane there. Nestorovich has got basically just got to play it cool, play it calm, and follow Brownski through this next sequence of corners. Coming out the final corner and trying to get the acceleration right will be key there. The engine being in the back of the roof will help with the traction. But yeah, it's really down the straights that the roof will excel over the Z4. But once again, it looks like Brownski's got a pretty good run coming through those final couple of turns. The lightness of the Z4 really playing to his advantage and trying to basically negate the straight line speed that the roof has over the Z4, coming down into the braking zone for turn 2.
I'm going to quickly just look back down the field. We got Tipple in 5th place, because now we think that all the pit stops are pretty much shaken out, although the uncertainty, of course, being Brownski. Now TonyR actually, wait, he's been passed by Massa actually for the lead, but yep, we believe he's still not pitted yet. So pretty interesting. And he's got actually quite a few cars behind him, but that are cars that he has lapped at this point. Nestorovich wants to get into turn 1, not able to find a way through. Silver Arrow running just ahead of Centra actually in the battle for 6th position. That could be an interesting one coming up. I don't think Central's damage is actually real because he's still driving very well. Ycoms on his return race in 8th position. Pedro in 9th, although I can't see him anywhere on this camera angle.
There we go.
Here he is in his Cadillac. I feel like he also must have not pitted yet, because he was also way down the field. Yeah, no, he was way down the field before. He's now worked his way into the top 10 by virtue of not pitting, whereas I believe Nosra has pitted and he's catching him up.
Yep.
Blue Rat up to 11th again. AJ and then Weisgar. We got all the BMW M3s, the teammates of Team Don't Care Bear, running in 11th down to 13th at the moment. That's some solid point for them, obviously. With the dropouts we have this race and 16 cars left in the race at the moment. That means every finisher gets points here now, because his points go down to 16th position. And there's a close battle behind as well. It's actually very close towards the back end of the field, with Maisie just ahead of Mikhail. Those two Czech drivers having some contact earlier on, and Mikhail actually closing a little bit, coming towards turn 1. Hopefully these guys have fixed the damage problems they had earlier on after going into the pit lane. It looks like they have. And Mikhail not close enough here. So yeah, still some very interesting battles going on here. Although you never really know. TonyR might be running, you know, what do you think? I doubt the hard tires is being used, but
no.
Would you say he's using the mediums potentially?
He could be running mediums on the front and on softs on the rear. I'm not entirely sure which end of the car this track is limited to. I imagine it's the front, considering the nature of some of the corners.
Oh, was a spinner actually in the lower end of the field. AJ was running behind Blue Rat. He's actually dropped off the track there, and he's been repassed by, well, he's been passed by his other teammate, Wiseguy.
Yep.
Managed to save it though without any wall contact there, AJ. But he's now gonna have to pass Wiseguy to get back into 12th position.
I think Wiseguy is going to let AJ through. Yeah, he is. I saw the... What's going on with Wiseguy?
Wait. Whoa!
Stopped. Why is he stopping? He's pulled over to the side of the road.
Blinking his headlights. Something's gone wrong there.
He's got the car going. There he goes. He's accelerated back up now. But yeah, I did see him flash his headlights earlier when he passed AJ. I saw the rear lights flash, and he didn't actually touch the brake because the brake light didn't come on. Shall I say the central one?
Yeah.
So I imagine he was indicating to let AJ back through, but...
And the race leader at the moment, F1 Master, we haven't seen much of in this race because it's just been running quite lonely out in front after the first couple of laps. But he's obviously the reigning double champion of Season 2 and 3. On course as well to win Season 4, and it's worth pointing out, of course, that the man who won the first race of the season is the other man who's dropped out of the race. I don't know if you mentioned this before, but Dinja's teammate, Kaki, is nowhere to be seen.
That's the other guy who dropped out earlier then. Because I did say that there are two people who dropped out. Obviously Dinda, and we didn't pick up earlier on who that second person was, but yeah, must have been Kaki. That's unfortunate. Definitely not good. Actually, a very, very bad points haul for the Bentleys this race. Currently only 1 point with Mini Black in 16th.
Yeah. And worth pointing out that Ginger in this Twitch chat saying that on this track, the Aston Martin, Bentley, and the Rough are the best picks. So that's some kind of driver knowledge there. That may be a bit of speculation of which cars are advantageous to have around this particular circuit. Necessarily driving one of them right now, the Roof, chasing after. Brownski still, can he get close enough? This time he only got 7 laps to go in this race. We've been driving for quite a while now, over 45 minutes, I believe. It was 39 laps to begin with, and we're down to 7 now for these guys. So Brownski just needs to keep his head cool and hit his marks, hit his apexes. And that's what he needs to do to keep ahead of Nesterovic. Quick check on TonyR. He's about a straight ahead of these guys, to be honest. These guys just came out of a turn number 4, just as TonyR went into turn number 5. So, yeah, I don't think these guys are really catching him, especially with Brownski having to focus so much on Nesterovic behind us, really catching now. Once again, getting very close out of the double apex, and Brownski might have to go defensive. He has done. Can Nesterovic pull out an around the outside move like Brownski did before? No, he cannot. This is a bit of a faster corner and therefore harder to go around the outside, of course. Less of a braking zone as well. But yeah, Nesterovic now really starting to pile on the pressure and wants that 3rd place back.
Yeah, that left and then right isn't really an ideal overtaking spot as Nesterovic gets very, very close to the back of Brownski into the braking zone of the penultimate corner there. It's going to cost him a little bit coming out the exit of the final turn, and once again Brownski able to eke out a little bit of a gap as we come down over the start-finish straight into turn 1 now, into the braking zone for turn 2 that immediately follows. And I think that's going to be the best place for Nesterovic to make the overtake on Brownski. Everywhere else, Brownski's just setting up his car very, very nicely. As you see here, he's taking a very, very tight line into this right-hander of turn 4. And that is basically preventing Nesterovic from really having to go anywhere else, whereas the braking zone into turn 2, where it immediately follows from the right-handed kink of turn 1, well, it's Nesterovic to the right-hand side of the circuit there.
Oh, what the
end of the car?
What's going on there?
Is he stalled?
Oh my, that was the position. That is a weird spin.
Yeah, it just seemed like a really slow, lazy half spin. He started going in one way. It does happen from time to time. If you just lose the rear end of the car, especially if you're losing temperature in the tyres, and also pressure, which will happen as the tyre grip does fade away over the length of the stint. But yeah, it just seemed like a really, really odd, lazy half spin. He started to go one way, kind of saved it, and then the car snapped the other.
Such a slow speed spin as well. It was really, really weird the way that went, but now he's suddenly finding himself trying to battle AJ, who's a lap down, and Tipple, of course, Brownski's teammate, has gained from that. He's moved himself up to 4th. Brownski has just been, relieved of all the pressure that was on him. He can now just cruise to the end, unless he really wants to push to try and catch TonyR. Let's have a quick look at the stream, actually, and just see. It doesn't tell me the gap right now. Hopefully it will in a bit. Here we go, about 7-8 seconds maybe. It's not gonna have too much time to close that gap, I don't think.
AJ needs to move out of the way of Nesterovic. He's currently holding him up at the moment, kind of battling with him. I think AJ may be thinking that Nesterovic is actually Mikhail, and Mikhail is actually sat behind Nesterovic, is now actually capitalized.
Here we go, opportunistic.
AJ, Nesterovic.
Oh, slide.
Good save. I was going to say, he was losing the rear end of his car there, but he's managed to keep hold of it. He's actually gained the position as well. He's gone and slipped himself up into 12th place. But yeah, AJ just completely battling the wrong person. he was trying to hold back Nastorovic, probably thinking that it was Mikhail, but
Yeah,
it
they
wasn't.
have the same car, of
Nastorovic.
course.
You needed to let him through. He was a lap down.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's gone and lost out massively with that as well. So I doubt Nastorovic will be too happy. I seriously doubt AJ's going to be too happy with himself suddenly realising that he was actually fighting the wrong car. But yeah, the mistake from Nastorovic earlier has gone and freed up Brownski now. The pace between him and TonyR is still roughly round about half a second. I can hear TonyR's car in the background when I'm following Brownski. TonyR did a 135.4 on the previous lap, and then Brownski's just done a 134.3, so he's back up to a second a lap quicker now that Brownski has been relieved of the pressure behind him. Is now actually probably really focusing hard on TonyR in front, and they're not too far away now. We've only got 4 laps left to go, just under that, as F1 Massa is, whereas he's just gone through the double right-hander. So yeah, he hasn't got a huge amount of time to try and make the place back up. It really depends on how much TonyR is suffering with his tyres, but at the moment he's holding his ground quite nicely. If he can keep this relatively consistent, steady pace, not make any mistakes, and continue to try and do these mid 135s as Fizzy is making some interesting noises.
Watching the battle to avoid the wooden spoon in the race. Vice Guy trying to hold off Mini Black for the battle between 15th and 16th. The final 2 positions currently left in this race, and Mini Black's trying to pull off a move area. It was around the outside of turn number 3, and is been forced to the outside with a late braking move. It's turn number 4. Vice Guy trying to find a way back here after Mini Black pulled off the overtake. He's going to have the outside line. He's a double right-hander now. He can't do what Brownski did earlier, hold it around the outside. He's kind of trying, but it's just a bit too far back. So nice to see some battling still going on in this race, even though it is right at the back of the field. But yeah, Mini Black, after some issues, a pit stop more than everyone else, as you mentioned, and at least he's not in last position at the moment, although Wise Guy actually getting pretty close now. But no, not close now into this corner. Another quite tricky one to overtake on. And then he spins as well. There we go. That's I think that's a wooden spoon for you, mate. Wise Guy there.
That's a shame. That would have been quite nice to have watched towards the end. Kept a close eye on that one. Mini Black now picking up 2 points for the Bentley team, providing he can hold that position to the end of the race. AJ is still very close to the back of Mikhail. Blue Rat is kind of running in 3.0 and 11th, but he's got Nastorovic behind him for company and actually goes and lets him through now.
Yeah.
Lap down. Pedro's just going through the double right hand. Nas just quite far ahead. Basically flicking through the drivers now to see where these guys are. I think the main battle to be watching out for in these dying moments of this race is probably going to be between Brownski and TonyR at the moment. TonyR is still lapping in the mid 135s. He's doing that pretty consistently, which is pretty good. He should be able to, if he can continue to do that towards the end of in the last couple of laps, he should be able to hold on to the second position, which would be an absolutely fantastic result.
Brownski, you can see him now, though.
Please. Yeah,
he's gonna really see him.
Certainly getting closer. I'm going to say probably the gap is probably around 5 seconds at the moment. You should probably be able to see on the stream, Busy.
Yes, that is true. It says 2.4 seconds, 2.2 seconds, 1.9 seconds. It's and then back to 2.3. But yeah, it's definitely been closer now in the final few laps. But it's only just under 2 laps to go in the race now. Was that a lapped car as well between them? That's Pedro. Who Brownski will know how to navigate as well. I would imagine he's also an established driver in this league. I would imagine he would not be causing too many issues for him. But of course, it's one thing catching a driver, but then it's another thing passing. And Brownski, even though he might catch up pretty close by the end of this race, he's not really going to have the time he needs to pass TonyR. I don't think.
No.
He really could do with like 3 or 4 more laps, and I think we could have had a really exciting battle there for second place.
Yeah, knowing Tony's a pretty good level-headed driver, he should be able to hopefully hold on to this position if Brownski does get up onto the back of Tony's car. It's not like Tony will buckle under the pressure, as it looked like his car skipped a little bit, touching the curb on the outside, but Browski looked like he ran a little bit deep in that right-hander as well, coming through the left and into the double right of the last two corners to start the final lap. It's like the gap is probably around 1.5 to 2 seconds. So TonyR could hopefully be able to hold on to the second place here. People doing a pretty nice job in fourth. Browski in third, picking up another podium, providing the guys finish where they are. I'm sure he will be happy with. You can see that Browski is pushing. He's just done a 134.0 on the no, sorry, that's his lap. He did a 134.6 on his previous lap. If TonyR doing a 135.6 on the previous lap, so
second difference then.
Yeah, still a second difference, like it has been these last 10-15 laps or so. I think Nestorovic had actually played a big part in helping out TonyR in that battle.
Yeah, I think so. They were definitely holding each other up. But I'm actually going to cut you off there, Joaquin. I'm sorry about that, but Mazda, F1 Mazda, the reigning champion, is about to come around with a very falsely damaged car on my screen to take the win of this second round. His second win in a row, of course. 2 wins out of 3 for him this season. And we got his teammate TonyR, who's trying to just keep it nice and calm for the final few corners here. Browski's got himself within around a second behind him now, and really could done with a few more laps, but TonyR is just gonna be so pleased to see the checkered flag waving for him now around the final corner. They both go, and TonyR is gonna have a second consecutive second place. Is 1-2 for Aston Martin. Browski gets the final spot on the podium, and then his teammate Tipple is gonna just cross the line along with the lapped car of Pedro RC, who I believe managed to hold on to the top 10 in the end. Pedro says he's 5th at the moment, but that is not correct. Nestorovic is the man actually in 5th place. And then we have Silver Arrow, the next man to cross the line in the lead Mercedes SLS in this race so far. You can see all the lapped cars now actually crossing the line, meaning that the scoreboard is a little bit messed up at the moment. I believe Silver Arrow should be, what, 7th, 8th? 7th? 6th actually. 6th. Wow. Ycoms also on his return to the league gets 7th position. A very solid race for him, obviously. A shame for the two Bentleys of Ginger S and Kaki, who failed to finish this race with various issues. Could have potentially pushed quite a few of these guys a couple of spots further down, but I'm sure they'll be pleased to take advantage here. You got Blue Rat running around. I believe he's actually already finished. Yeah,
he's in 11th. So everybody, as far as I know, has crossed the line. So we've got F1 Massa taking first, TonyR 2nd, Browski 3rd, Tipple 4th, Nestorovic 5th, Silver Arrow 6th, 7th for Ycoms, Centro in 8th, 9th is Noz, Pedro 10th, which rounds out the top 10. Then we've got Blue Rat in 11th, McCarron 7th, AJ 13th, Maisie 14th, Mini Black 15th, and then Vice Guy in 16th with Dinda and also Kaki being 2 DNS with unfortunate disconnects.
Yep. And also, of course, a few drivers that couldn't attend this race here today. Might have missed Papand, of course, the man who battled TonyR last time out at Imola. He was not able to be here. Martin van der Bent, another one. Karotten Rudy, who made his debut race at Brno. He's not been here for the last 2. I need to figure out what's going on with him, because I know he was not meant to be here last week, but can't remember him saying anything for this week. I have to sort that one out, but yeah, hopefully we should have all these guys back for next week. And there we go. That's the results. So obviously, when I put this on YouTube later on, I will add an overview of the standings for you guys. It's a bit tricky for us to calculate this on the fly. But all we do know is that F1 Mazda definitely retaining the lead of the championship. He already had a pretty comfortable gap over the first 2 races. He's going to take another win here to extend that. And I believe TonyR, with his 2nd place, actually moves himself from 4th up to 2nd in the championship standings. So it's going to be 1-2 Aston Martin there as well. Browski.
Nice.
Browski, he was 5th in the championship going into this race. And yeah, I think he will move himself up to... Ooh, it's going to be close, actually. Tipple, I think Tipple might hold on to third, Brownski, and the server is going to be close for fourth, I think.
Fantastic. That was quite a nice race. Interesting not really knowing what was going on with the pit stops. Battle seemed to be a little bit sporadic here and there. We saw a little bit of contact as well between a few of the guys, but hopefully no harsh feelings. And where are we going to be racing next week, Fizzy?
Next week... Damn it! 1 sec. Let this page load and then we shall figure out. The next track that we'll be at is the Laguna Seca, another place we haven't been yet in this league in the first 4 seasons. Debut race at Laguna Seca, that is an interesting one, where the gravel traps try to eat you up constantly there. Yeah, it's another pretty tight and twisty track, obviously with the famous corkscrew corner. Be interesting to see how these GT3 cars handle that one. And that will be a midday race though, no major weather implications, but 43 laps around Laguna Seca next week, and yeah, I think that should be another pretty interesting one. So yeah, I think that wraps it up then for this third round of Season 4. And thank you to everyone who watched this race. We'll be back next week at the same time for the 4th round at Laguna Seca, and hope you'll join us then as well. But until then, guys, I hope you have a nice life, and goodbye.
Thank you very much for watching. Ciao.